All right. Good afternoon. I would like to thank all the viewers for tuning in to this Facebook Live update. I'd like to thank the members of the press who have attended today to provide this update. And I'd also like to thank the Mayor of Fulton. Mayor Adina Michaels is here, and she'll be speaking in a minute. It's been a great experience working with Mayor Michaels. We've compared notes. We've shared ideas. We've communicated quite well, and it's nice to have a partner in government in the municipality right next door. So I applaud her and thank her for her cooperation. I would like to remind people the April 2nd Stop the Spread Stay at Home order that I implemented is still in effect. You heard Governor Cuomo earlier extend the pause New York order through May, to the middle of May. So I'd like to take a moment to remind people to Stop the Spread stay-at-home order still in effect. And again, what that means is there's essential travel only for essential workers, for essential shopping, or for medical appointments. That's really the only few reasons you should be out traveling around. So we're trying to limit face-to-face interaction. We're trying to limit the amount of travel that people are doing in general. Again, there's no reason to get that stimulus check and run right to Walmart and bring the whole family, or run right to Lowe's and bring the whole family. There's just no real reason to do that. You should go one person per household, essential items only, essential shopping trips only, and there's no reason to take the daily field trip with the entire family to our retail stores here in Oswego. Ever since implementing that Stop the Spread stay-at-home order on April 2nd, there has been a noticeable difference here in the city of Oswego. You can see it driving down the road. You can see it in the crowds at the stores. There's obviously been no gatherings. Complaints, which were actually high before the Stop the Spread order, before April 2nd, have drastically reduced ever since that Stop the Spread order. And I just want to thank the public for actually listening to that and obeying that Stop the Spread order. It is making a difference, and when we're all obeying it in such a way that we can actually visibly see it on the streets and as you're out in the community, that means that we're listening and we're doing the right thing. So I understand it's frustrating. I understand cabin fever is setting in. I feel it. I've noticed I'm a little more irritable lately, and the frustration's growing, right? I understand that. But I just have to thank the public for obeying the rules, abiding by the stay-at-home order. It's working, and I ask you to keep doing that through the governor's new May deadline. I'd also like to thank, in addition to the general public, small businesses have stepped up. They're following the rules. A lot of them have hardships of their own because they're closed or reduced hours, or just struggling financially. That's why we made small business assistance available right away. But the small businesses, you get on social media and you see the local small businesses, the same businesses who have the burden of being closed and have financial hardships of their own, are out delivering food to our first responders and to medical offices. It's really amazing to watch, and we need to support those small businesses just as much as they support us. The businesses who are doing delivery and takeout, I ask that you please support them. And once we get past this as a community, we really need to step up and support them, because their actions and their commitment to this community has been extraordinary these last couple of weeks. And I'd like to thank them for their continued cooperation. First responders, medical workers, we can't thank them enough, obviously. As mayor, Oswego Fire Department, Oswego Police Department, Oswego Code Enforcement, DPW, Economic Development have all stepped up as a team effort to help in their respective capacities, and I'd like to extend my thanks to them and the medical workers in this community. It's truly a team effort, and that is the silver lining here. It's been inspiring and encouraging to watch everybody step up and do their part. So I want to take a moment. Unicast is a data collection website I've been keeping my eye on, and what they do is they grade social distancing by county. As of the other day, Oswego County social distancing was approximately, I'll say, a C minus, which is an improvement from where we were. And that shows that our social distancing mechanisms and directives are working. People are following the rules. They're staying at home. They're doing all the right things. That grade has come up. but we need to continue to do that. We can't let up now. The non-essential travel was actually graded an F, which is pretty interesting, which means they collect cell phone data to track the movement of people through Oswego County. I'd like to think Oswego City is doing our part, and we're staying in the house and abiding that social distancing, stay-at-home order. The fact is we need to continue to do a better job so that that grade comes up. And again, I'll just reiterate what I've been saying all along. The better we are at social distancing now and staying at home and not taking those non-essential trips to the grocery store, the shorter I believe we'll actually have to social distance, saving us a lot of time and aggravation in the long run. The point I want to make today is it's important to social distance properly because we need not only the city, the entire county to step up when we do this, because there's two real reasons. Number one, social distancing is proven to save lives. It'll save lives by limiting interaction, by limiting the transmission of the virus through our community here in the city and county of Oswego. And I believe it'll save us time. You're watching the conversation, whether it's Governor Cuomo or President Trump, the conversation's pivoting from this numbers increasing by the day to how are we going to restart the economy. The point I want to make today is I think you're going to see moving forward a regional approach, if not state by state, certainly a regional approach here in New York State on how we restart the economy. And what I want to make sure is that the city of Oswego is doing our part so that when the governor focuses on central New York and they group us in however many counties are grouped together, whether it's Onondaga, Madison, Oneida, Cayuga, that we're doing our part so that once it's time to turn on that faucet and turn the economy back on, we're one of the regions that actually gets restarted sooner rather than later. I think we are in a good position, and I think we can remain in a good position if we continue to social distance between now and whenever that actual decision happens. You see Onondaga County's doing a great job managing the crisis. Oneida County has been impressive managing the crisis, and I want to make sure that at least the city of Oswego is doing our part to improve our grade, to improve our situation, so that we're one of the regional areas that when it's time to turn the upstate economy back on, we're ready to go, and we can get back to work. We can get back to enjoying our lives. Summer's already short enough here in Oswego. We don't need to start cutting into July and August and losing more of the short summer that we already have, right? So again, my entire point today is if we do social distancing correctly now, as frustrating, as inconvenient as it is, and as it has been for the last few weeks, I believe we will save our summer, we'll save time in the long run, and when it's time to restart that economy, we will be in position to be included when it's time to begin the process of opening businesses and having gatherings again. So the point of the poster here today is to demonstrate the need to keep our curve as flat as possible and to prevent the curve from growing. We're seeing the gradual uptick here in cases in Oswego County, and that speaks to one point, but the social distancing is the entire message today. And I realize the frustration, and we just had the deadline extended a couple more weeks, but we need to continue to do our part so that we can restart our economy sooner rather than later. And if you don't believe in social distancing and you think that it's ridiculous and it's not necessary, and you don't feel the need to do it for yourself, then I would ask that you do it for the seniors in our community, our elders. You do it for the youth in our community, for the immunocompromised in our community. Do it for me, if for no other reason, so that we can get this community back rolling again and get back to business. I can assure you I take no pleasure in having to make tough decisions to delay events this summer. I take no pleasure in closing playgrounds. I take no pleasure in closing Wrights Landing Marina. They're the last decisions I want to make, but we're doing it, and I think you're seeing the governor, the president make these decisions because it's proven to work, and it's the right thing to do at this time. So, we can debate whether or not it's necessary, but the fact is it's absolutely working, and we need to keep doing it so that we can get back to normal sooner rather than later. So I'd like to remind the public again to report gatherings, lack of social distancing, and to report businesses who appear to be open but appear to be non-essential. You can call the Oswego Police Department anonymously at 315-342-8120. We've had a lot of complaints come through, particularly at the beginning of the stay-at-home order. We responded. Most businesses have been cooperative, and I thank them for that. You can also email at oswegopd@oswegony.org. Those same businesses, the same gatherings, if you wish, and we will be sure to respond and enforce the governor's executive orders as we do it. We obviously try to issue warnings and try to seek compliance right away, but ultimately we will continue going down the road if we have to and we don't get that compliance. Couple of city updates for the city of Oswego. We're establishing, starting on Monday, we'll have a COVID-19 mental health hotline for city residents. We're partnering with New Spirit Consultation and some other mental health professionals in the city of Oswego to establish a direct phone line for city residents to call. The health professionals will take your call, they'll listen to concerns, frustration, challenges, and if you wish, they'll perform an initial assessment evaluation. And again, if you wish, they will take that evaluation and directly connect you to further assistance if you need it and if you want it. As I said earlier, I feel that irritation building, cabin fever, it's frustrating. There's financial hardship that obviously comes with this whole thing. So we want to make sure that city residents have the resources they need to air their concerns, to share their situation and some of their frustration. And if you wish, we can actually connect you to resources to try to improve your situation and get you through this really tough and challenging time. So again, that service will begin Monday. I will publicize the phone number to call on Monday once the service is up and running. And I look forward to providing that service. I'm proud to provide that service to city residents. A couple other quick updates. We've extended our free childcare program with YMCA and Little Luke's through May 1st. That was originally set to expire, I believe, on April 16th. I can't remember offhand, but it's now extended 2 more weeks to May 1st. And we'll continue to extend it if we see the usage. We're still seeing the usage, so it's a worthwhile service to keep around. And if we need to go beyond May 1st, we're prepared to do so. We unfortunately have to push the summer concert series, which typically starts the 3rd week in June on Thursdays. We're going to push that back to start on July 16th. The farmers market typically starts May. We're pushing that start date back to July 9th. And I'd like to remind folks that Wrights Landing Marina is still closed until at least July 13th. Playgrounds are still closed, but again, parks remain open to joggers, walkers. I believe that's important to have people still be allowed to take a walk along Harbor Trail, walk Brightbeck Park. And as I said a few weeks ago, if we see mass gatherings and groups of people in the parks going for those walks or having aerobics class or meetings in the parks, I'll be forced to do that blanket closure to close parks in general. I must say, again, thank the public that they've been outstanding as far as complying with the no more than 3 people to a group in our parks. So again, playgrounds, basketball courts, pavilions, softball fields are closed. The walking paths and parks remain open, and so far compliance has been good, so we will continue to leave those open for now. Some important numbers before I turn it over to Mayor Michaels. The City of Oswego emergency website is available. Again, that's the one-stop shop website the City Economic Development Team developed. Has information like childcare, food banks, unemployment, mortgage relief, student loan relief, utility bill relief, really anything you could possibly need as far as to try to get assistance or get help has been condensed onto that one-stop shop website. We developed it's www.cityofoswegoemergencyassistance.org. I'd like to remind people that city taxes, City Hall is closed. Really, all city business you can conduct on the city website, www.oswegony.org. There's really no reason to go to City Hall. Forms, applications, permits are all available on the website. The only reason would be to pay taxes and fees that may be due. Again, you can mail those in or call 315-342-8105 to pay debit or credit card over the phone. That phone will be staffed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays from 9 to 12. The City Hall General Helpline, So if you don't have access to a computer or internet and you can't use the city website, please call 315-343-4990. The person staffing that phone can direct you anywhere you need to go to the point person in the department in which you're looking to conduct business. And lastly, the county COVID hotline, 315-349-3330 for any help with anything related to COVID. Feel free to call that number again. I'd like to thank the public. I've been so impressed, so encouraged and proud to be from Oswego. Again, following the stay-at-home order, I appreciate it. It's working. We're not doing it for no reason. We're doing it because it is working. We're going to keep doing it so that our situation continues to improve. I appreciate the compliance. I appreciate all the precautions everybody's taking. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned Lowe's, I mentioned Price Chopper, I mentioned Walmart, where we were seeing these shoppers flock every day with huge crowds. We have since sent the fire department and police department to meet with the managers. We actually are conducting details outside of these stores Friday, Saturday, and Sundays to educate people on why it's not a good idea to go to the store every day. The stores themselves have stepped up. We were asking for 6 feet distance markers at the checkout lines. They've complied. We were asking for one-way aisles. They complied. We were asking for counters at the front of the stores. They've complied. They've stepped up to do a great job and help us in that regard. And everybody's doing a great job. And I just thank the public. We have to keep doing it. And when we get through this, we can hopefully enjoy our summer. So with that, again, I'd like to introduce my partner in government from the city of Fulton, Mayor Dina Michaels.
Thank you and good afternoon. I want to thank Mayor Barlow for this opportunity for us to join together to share our message for our communities and talk about the state of each one of our cities. Our cities are different in many ways, but in many ways we're the same. We have very strong community members and we have strong, resilient businesses. And the safety, health, and well-being of our communities is at the top of our priority. COVID-19 is tough. There is no other way to put it. This is a difficult time for all of us. And it's putting a strain on all of our lives. But Fulton, I reassure you that what you're doing is working. Our numbers are low. The last reported number that I had was 1 case in Fulton. Now more than ever, we must continue to do what we have been doing. We cannot become complacent. We must continue to practice social distancing. We must continue to comply with the guidance that is given through the county, through the state, and through our city. We must continue to practice good hygiene and, in fact, tomorrow, we all should be wearing these masks if we're out in public and we're unable to social distance. We should be wearing these masks. I have mine. Our entire crew at City Hall is all equipped with face masks, and we're going to continue to use these. And we're going to be the example of what we want to see in the community. As we continue to move forward, please continue to practice all that we talk about on social media, here in these press conferences, all that you see on the news and that the county health department is putting out. We must continue to practice our social distancing and our health and hygiene practices, because that's what's going to get us through this. Plain and simple, that's what's going to get us through this. We want this to be over as soon as possible. And the way we do that is coming together as a community, coming together as 2 municipalities sharing the same message. Today with me, I have our fire and police chiefs. They're here to show their support and to align with the message that we are sharing within our community. For us, this is not about anything more than education to make sure our community stays safe. So our police have been equipped with flyers and they're handing those out. If they see someone who perhaps isn't social distancing or who may need some additional support, they're handing out flyers to provide additional information that may be helpful. We have been out in the community and we've been working with our business community. We've been working with our Parks and Rec. We've been talking with our non-for-profit agencies to make sure that we're all on the same page, to make sure that we're all complying and making sure that we all have a plan together. If Fulton can provide resources to these agencies, to these neighboring municipalities, to stores, businesses, community members, that's what we're here to do. We want to make sure that we are being a resource and providing all the information that's important at this point. We understand that there's a lot of information out there. It's coming at us from all angles, and we don't want that to be any more confusing than it already can be. So we've created a hotline. That's area code 315-895-4767. That's Fulton's COVID hotline. That's the place to call in if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have ideas, or if you simply just want to talk about the COVID situation. Call into that line and we'll be happy to discuss with you more and put you in contact with the resources that we have available throughout the community. What has Fulton been doing? We did create a COVID financial oversight committee where our department heads are gathering to talk about what the impact is on our community and what we need to do now and what we're going to need to plan for in the future regarding the COVID impact. I am in the process of developing a Fulton Small Business Committee in collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce. And that's for many reasons. We want to make sure that the business community has a voice, that they can talk about the concerns as a result of COVID, and we can start planning now for the future. What's the impact that COVID's going to have on our community? We don't quite know yet, but we need to start having those conversations now and planning now so that we are farther ahead once these community bans start to lift and once we start to get back to our new normal. We want to be prepared to do that. So we're bringing together a small business committee to achieve that. I am meeting with our department heads on a weekly basis. We meet to talk about the latest updates on COVID. We talk about how we're going to continue to run the city. We are still mandated to run at half staff, so the city departments are limited in their capacity, which means that we have to cut back on some of our services at this time. And like Mayor Barlow said, I take no pleasure in doing that either. It's not that we want to do this, but it's the right thing to do because your safety and your health is of the utmost importance. And I'm not going to jeopardize that. So while we might have to put our yard waste on hold for a month, or we may have to limit what we can do in our parks, or we may have to hold off on some of the activities and events that we planned on having, it's because your health and safety is most important. And we're going to continue to make those decisions because they're the right decisions and because we want to get back to life as we all knew it and as we all hope it to be once again. I need to commend everyone who lives, visits, and works in the city of Fulton for placing the health and safety of our community as a top priority. We're encouraged by our low numbers, and if we continue to put the hard work in and the efforts, our numbers will remain low, and we'll come out of this situation stronger and more resilient. I want to thank Mayor Barlow again for inviting me here and allowing Fulton to have a voice in this conversation. A unified effort and a unified message is extremely important in keeping us all safe and us all healthy. I encourage us all to continue to practice what we have been and stay strong, Fulton, and stay safe, and we will get through this together. Thank you again.
With that, if the mayor's okay with it, we'll take some Q&A if you want. And Mayor, if you want to jump in when I'm answering, let me know.
As of yesterday, even we had some of our followers at iHeart questioning Walmart's practices. Are you aware of that, and is there anything going on with that right now?
Yeah, so we've been, if you remember, I want to say it was about 2 weeks ago, the last press conference I had, I actually came out pretty strong with what we wanted to see with Price Chopper, Walmart, Lowe's, and some other, I don't mean to single them out, but they're the most obvious examples. We sat down with the management at each store and said, here's what we want to see. Here's what the state has put forward. And locally, we're going to start enforcing it because it's being put forward for a reason, right? So they now have counters at the entrance of their stores. We've been there while they're doing it, and they're limiting the capacity, the number of people who are allowed in the store at any one time. They've put down the one-way aisles. They've put down the distance, 6 feet distances at the checkout. So we're pleased with that. And they've allowed us to put OPD and OFD, as I said, on Friday, Saturdays, Sundays outside of their doors, so that when the public comes in, we can explain to them, why are you here? It's obviously their choice to travel out, but if there's a family of 4 walking in, I think it helps to just have that engagement at the door and say, why is the whole family coming in? Do you really need to make this trip today? Make sure you get everything you need for the next few days so that you're not back here. We don't want to see you back here tomorrow, right? It's not telling them what to do. It's explaining safe measures to take right now, common sense measures. I cannot, for the life of me, understand why a family of 4 right now would walk into Walmart. It doesn't make any sense. So that's what we're going to continue to do. Again, I thank them for their partnership and cooperating following that press conference, and we continue to have dialogue moving forward and we'll put more changes in if we need to, but I think right now they're managing quite well, and we're there to assist.
We had one more question from a concerned mom who was very worried, as she had 3 children and only one of her, she's a single mom, of wanting to take her kids for a walk and not really being able to keep that 6-foot distance because their children are
Sure.
little. What could you tell her?
Well, and that's where I don't want to say there's a gray area. I think that's where you just have to exercise some common sense, right? What we don't want to see are people from different households saying, let's meet at Brightbeck Park at noon today and go for a walk and roll around in the grass. If you are, all the individuals are of the same house, like this single mother with 3 children, they live in the same house as it is. Of course, she can go out and go for a walk in the park. That's totally acceptable. But what we don't want to have happen is that family meet up with another family that's in the same situation and have a meeting in the middle of Brightbeck Park under the bell, and then those 2 households are transmitting anything they may have, right? So, if you want to take your family and you're in that situation to the park to go for a walk, that's the reason why OPD is putting so much effort into decipher closed playgrounds, closed basketball courts, close the pavilion, but the walkways are open. I could have easily just closed the entire park, right? But we're putting in that effort, the time, and the resources to draw that line and what's acceptable and what's not. And so far, people understand it and are following it.
Thank you, Matt.
The number to call, sorry.
Go ahead.
The number to call, in case you see a group gathered together, or have you gotten much feedback?
Yeah, so
Is it working, and have you gotten much feedback?
we have, between, I don't mean, go ahead. Okay. So the number again is 315-342-8120. Again, you don't have to say who you are. You can just call it in. The address is oswegopd@oswegony.org. The phone number has worked. I've received numerous calls to my office, to my Facebook, to my email of residents who understand it. They get it. They are following the rules. They're taking the precautions, and they understand why it's important. And they have contacted us, and we respond. So again, people always question every measure we take, whether it's something new in code enforcement or with the police department. The first question that we're always asked is, how are you going to enforce it? What a lot of people don't realize is the public somewhat enforces itself, especially in this situation where people understand it, get it. It's really serving as the enforcement because we're getting the complaints and we respond. So the number's working well. I don't have the data to compare how many people have called versus how many people have emailed me or emailed their counselor or called my office. But we are getting those complaints, and people, I don't like to call them complaints. I like to say that people are actually doing their job by calling in these situations, right? It's the right thing to do right now. And they have dipped slightly because we're seeing that compliance. Again, right before I did that stay-at-home order on April 2nd, there's a reason why I was provoked to do that, and that was because the complaints were flowing in. We were driving down, seeing businesses that clearly shouldn't have been open, not only open, but not practicing social distancing. That's what prompted the stay-at-home order, and since then the complaints have dipped because people are listening.
Have you heard from many in the small business community, and how are they doing? Are some having trouble hanging on? If they do have that problem, is there any chance you would institute another loan program?
So what the answer is, yeah. I mean, all small businesses in Oswego are struggling right now. There's no doubt about it. And as this goes on, it's going to get harder and harder and harder. A good example is my parents in the company that we own. We rely on mass gatherings and fairs and festivals and everything else. They're in Arizona now. Their events were canceled. This summer is questionable, right? Nobody knows where we're going with this. So businesses from the fairs and festivals and concession businesses are hurting. I understand that. To local small businesses, restaurants that are closed or forced to only do takeout or to go, to manufacturers here in the city who I've talked to, medium to large size companies, they're hurting as well. So I'd like to think, and a lot of the compliments and words that I've heard have been complimentary to what the city's done, right? We made about $275,000 available immediately where we announced the application. We got the money, checks in their hand to, I think, close to 30 businesses within a week, $10,000 loans. So that helps. We sent out the flyer to every household in the city with the to-go and delivery restaurants, with their addresses, the services they offer, the hours of operation. The flip side of that is I wish city government can do more, but there's a limit. So we have coordinated with Operation Oswego County, and they have their, I believe it was $500,000 loan program. The businesses that applied for our loan that we couldn't fund, we turned the applications over to Oswego County so that they had them and gave our 2 cents into their applications to try to get some help to those we couldn't help. And moving forward, we'll continue to think of ways we can, but the best way right now, again, is for people to social distance properly so that when the governor or the president sits down to start reopening the economy, and if they're going to consider that regional approach, we're one of the regions, along with the other counties in central New York, that gets restarted sooner rather than later when it's appropriate and responsible to do so. What I don't want to do, and what I'll be really disappointed in, is if the counties around us are open, and we're not, right? That'll be the worst case scenario, and that's why it's important to follow the rules right now.
You mentioned festivals. Has there been any talk of a date by which a decision has to be made on Harborfest?
No, I was talking to the director of Harborfest a couple of days ago, actually, and we had a good conversation. And, Harborfest is at the end of July, right? So we have some time to work there. Communication's the key now. And we'll make that decision as time goes on. What you're seeing now is Farmers Market, Summer Concert Series. These are events that start in May and June. Makes sense right now to push those back a bit. I think that's the responsible thing to do. I still think July is a ways out, and we have time. I personally believe, this is just speculation on my part, which I shouldn't do, but I think the next 3 weeks is critical. I think we can control our own destiny for the next 3 weeks. And if we, as I always say, hunker down and follow the stay-at-home order and do the right things now, we can have a summer. Summer's short enough. I don't want to cut it more than we have to, but I think we control our own destiny, and that's why it's important to listen to the rules and regulations right now.
Okay, there's a couple questions posted on Facebook about hygiene and washing hands, things like that. For those people who aren't able to see what process you went through and everybody else in this room went through to come into the building today, could you just enlighten folks of screening that everybody here went through before you got to that podium?
Yeah, so even to get in this building, it's the fire department, which I oversee in a way, but I still go through the same screening process, and everybody here did. Where when we walk in, and I encourage businesses to take the same step, and if office space is still open, do the same thing. When I walked in, hand sanitizer right away, checked in, had to answer a few questions. Am I experiencing symptoms? The answer is no. Had to have my temperature taken, hand sanitized again, walked in the room, washed my hands again. So it's a rigorous process just to get in the fire station right now. But and we've, look, that's why we closed City Hall. Do you know how hard it is to run city government when everybody's in different locations? It's extremely difficult, and it's been challenging, but it's the right thing to do, and we're taking all the measures we have to, including the measures that are required to get to this podium today.
Do you have any insight into how the food bank is doing around here, and if a lot more people than usual are going to?
I don't have specific data to give you, which I don't like giving generic answers, but the food banks have been mobilized. They're doing their job. They're seeing usage. So that system's working. It'll continue to work, right? Luckily, the stimulus money's coming in now, so that'll offer a bit of relief to some folks. But we've had good organization to date. People are using it. They understand the hours, the locations, and what to expect when they go there, and that's really the best case scenario.
They seem to be, they have enough food.
Yeah, everything's, logistics are everything's fine right now.
The least important question, but obviously on everyone's mind due to morale, is the 4th of July parade still on the table or not?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're playing it as we go. Like I said, the next 3 weeks are extremely critical.
So
You know,
nothing has.
Look, I'm going to make a decision on the 4th of July parade either way, probably about a month before the parade. If you take note of the other dates I listed with the farmers market and the summer concert series, you'll see we're hovering, and the Wrights Landing Marina, we're hovering around right now early to the middle of July, right? So I'd like to think it's still possible, but again, we control our own destiny. So stay in the house now, and let's improve that unicast score for whatever that's worth, and let's make sure that when the governor goes to restart the economy, we're one of the Central New York regions doing our part and can get restarted. So, again, it's a moving target. The governor or president can make an announcement an hour from now and change the whole game. That's what's frustrating as a local official, right? We're reacting to what we're seeing and planning to the best of our knowledge as the situation exists right now. But the problem is the situation that exists right now changes hour to hour, literally. So, that's why it's key to communicate to the public, but it's a bit difficult.
One last question. for
Yep.
both mayors. Is there something being done for the homeless community, in the county and the areas?
Yep. So,
Because they are, they're walking around, they may not understand what's going on or know.
yeah. So in the city of Oswego, city government, right at the onset of this entire thing, this entire situation, we've been working with Victory Transformation right in downtown Oswego, across from City Hall, as a matter of fact. They've increased their capabilities to be able to meet the demand. So we've been in communication with them and working alongside them from the get-go. Oswego Police Department's in constant communication, so if they see somebody who appears to be homeless, they can coordinate with Victory, make sure the individual knows where they can go, and stays in communication so that if we see a spike out on the streets, we can communicate with Victory right away so that they can continue to increase their capability. Right now, everything's working well as far as that goes. So
The city of Fulton is working with various agencies, Oswego County Opportunities, Catholic Charities, the Shinneman Foundation, United Way, and we've come together as a joint coalition, if you will, and we're addressing all of those community needs, including those who are in need of food, those who are in need of other resources. A community fund has been created through the help of the Shinneman Foundation, and we're identifying those needs that we have across all of the vulnerable communities. So there is. Thank you.
thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much.